no other country. Think of the Alamo. Think of so many countries who are proud of their historical monuments, and I can't believe that it could be neglected so much, and it's very important.
Why do you think it was let go so much?
I think the ruling class of this country, ever since, although they owe their existence and their power to the Rising, don't give a damn about history. I think they're just not interested in history at all, not even their own history.
I acknowledge the role of Dublin City Council on this, and I still can fail to believe how they could possibly have sold over that particular area to a developer. The developer wants to develop the site. Included in that is 14 to 17. The developer is a NAMA.
It could be a beautiful tourist attraction to have a footprint memorial in this area, because there's more to 1916 than just the GPO.
People of this country deserve to take this country back from those who wrecked the economy of this country, and where better place to start the recovery of this nation's proud honour and proud history than in this street, where the birthplace of the Republic was set.
I mean, what do you think of the National Monument at the moment?
I wouldn't use this sort of language on film that would express how I feel.
We're going to get an international campaign to say to NAMA, we are going to take the site from you. We're even going to offer our own money to you, but you're not building a supermarket here.
Tell me what you think will happen to the National Monument if nothing is done about it?
If nothing is done, well, two things could happen. It could just keep on disintegrating as it is already disintegrating. There are some photographs up on Facebook of the interior, which is an absolute disgrace and unbelievable. The other thing that could happen is that eventually the developer will carry on with his plans to turn the whole area into a shopping complex and put a cafe and toilets in there, where the leaders of the 1916 Rising finally came to the decision to surrender. So you can have a cup of coffee and a piss where the leaders of the Republic finally surrendered to the British.
Dublin City Council must not hand them over to a developer who intends to obliterate this entire area.
Can you tell me who you are?
Yes, my name is Coit Vic Unrick.
Okay.
And I am a daughter of one of the men who was in the GPO, and a daughter-in-law of another man, Frank Henderson, and John O'Connor was my own father's name.
Okay, and can you tell me why we're here today?
Oh, we're here in order to save dreadful destruction on such a precious and important place. This is where we gained our freedom. This is where the state was set up. and it's unimaginable that there wouldn't be a fitting memorial. A little scrap in the middle of a huge monstrosity of a shopping centre is an insult to the men who risked their lives and those who lost their lives.
And can you tell me what's going to happen to this place if nothing is done about it?
Well, it's the developers are still trying to insist that they be allowed to build on it.
Okay.
And we object very strongly to that, and we feel that it should be given or used by the to proper not celebration but commemoration of what happened here in this. No other country. Think of the Alamo. Think of so many countries who are proud of their historical monuments, and it just, I can't believe that it could be neglected so much, and it's very important. This would be it could be a beautiful tourist attraction to have a footprint memorial in this area, because there's more to 1916 than just the GPO.
Yeah. It's been suggested about an eternal flame or something. What would you like to see here as a way of commemorating relatives? Or?
Well, I have seen the plan that the Save 16 people have, the Save Moore Street people have, and it's a really lovely plan. It would make an ideal area. It would, I mean, look at the dereliction around here, and it would be really beautiful. It really should be brought forward, and people, you know, for commercial interests, it's just quite serious.
Okay, well, an absolute pleasure and an honour to meet you. Could you just tell me, do you want to introduce yourself first?
My name, yeah. Mary Fitzpatrick, I'm Fianna Fáil City Councillor.
Okay, and Mary, can you tell me what is happening here?
Well, today we're having a demonstration to highlight the appalling dereliction of the buildings here on Moore Street, which were designated a national monument because they were the final headquarters of the 1916 Rising. The heroes from 1916, they surrendered from these buildings. Over the decades they've been allowed to deteriorate and dilapidate. They're in private ownership, and we are all coming together today to remember their heroic efforts, but also to send a strong message to government that these buildings and this national monument needs to be restored, it needs to be preserved, and it needs to be promoted and used to inform current and future generations of our history and where our state was first founded.
Okay, and what is going to happen to the monument if nothing's done about it? Or?
Well, if nothing is done about it, I suppose they ultimately would fall apart, but you know, that is an outcome that we would find completely unacceptable. They are designated a national monument. The Minister has the authority to protect them, and we're asking that the Minister will use his authority to protect them and to ensure that they are restored and a proper and appropriate commemoration created on the site.
No problem. No, thank you very much.
Thanks a million.
No problem.
Their children and their grandchildren. It's imperative that these buildings are treated properly. Ideally, if we could manage the whole of the terrace, but that's a dream. I don't know if we'll make it. Councillor Mary Fitzpatrick said she'd be good enough to say a few words for me.
Thank you. This wasn't... Good afternoon, Mary Fitzpatrick is my name. I'm a City Councillor. I'm leader of the Fianna Fáil group on Dublin City Council. And I'm also joined by Councillor Neil Ring, who's an independent councillor. And I don't see any other councillors here, but if they're here, I acknowledge their presence. More importantly, I acknowledge all of your presence. Coming out today, it's really important. Neil chaired the recent Moore Street Committee. We worked to support the work that the relatives and volunteers and ordinary people have done over decades now to try and preserve these buildings that everybody can see are in an appalling condition. We've made strong recommendations. We've called on the Minister not to allow any...
Your government sold it off. Your party
if I can speak, and I'll answer your question.
Lawyers will stop.
Selling off your lawyers.
If I can speak,
Okay, properties are
properties have been in private ownership for a very long time. The government, Fianna Fáil government, did not sell them off. We have made strong recommendations. We've made recommendations for the Minister not to allow any building on those, any destruction of the properties, for the properties to be properly preserved, for a proper and appropriate commemoration to be made on the site, so that the heroic efforts of ordinary Dubliners will be not only remembered by people today, but by future generations. I'm very proud as a Dublin woman to stand here today. I'm very proud to represent the ordinary people of Dublin and to play a small part in trying to rectify this situation. I thank you all for your attendance.
She was told by one of the organisers she's supporting the thing. Now just please be quiet and let it go on.
Thank you.
And I'm not a Fianna Fáiler by any chance.
I invited her. Do you want to speak to me about it?
If it wasn't for Fianna Fáil, we wouldn't be in this position, would we? Well done, lads. End of story. That originated.
She's supporting the.
Everything.
This is inappropriate time to be making that point.
She's supporting the campaign.
James.
This is the appropriate time.
Hello everybody, welcome to Moore Street, welcome to the 4 buildings that are the 1916 National Monument. You can see a cursory glance from the street at the condition of these buildings. I can assure you tells you nothing of the house of horrors within these walls. The most disgraceful memorial to the brave men and women of 1916 you're likely ever to see on this island of Ireland. Some comment has been made over here about past administrations, and it's quite correct. Successive administrations since 2007 have failed to honour their commitment for undertaking to preserve this national monument. That's the undertaking they give in our name under the legislation in 2007. And it is quite correct to say that each and every administration since then has failed us, the people, to protect and preserve this monument. And it is quite correct to say that today's administration has failed to protect and preserve this monument. And it is fair to say that today Minister Jimmy Deanahan has failed to protect and preserve this historic monument. 5 of the leaders of the signatories to our Proclamation of Independence spent their final hours of freedom in these houses. Not in one house, not in 4 houses, in the entire terrace from number 10 all the way up to 25, and let nobody tell us that one house is more important than another. Each and every one of these houses, is of immense historical importance to us, the people of this country. And we are the inheritors of these houses. And let no private property developer under the control of NAMA, a Golden Circle, a member of the Golden Circle Anglo-Irish banking group, the group that are responsible for the demise of the economy of this country, let no developer, let no Golden Circle developer say he has more right to these houses. I want to pay tribute to Frank Allen, who's here today. Frank Allen was the organiser of the very first successful arms around Moore Street. And today we remember that great day when 500 to 600 people circled the entire block and said, not a brick are you taking of this monument. You're not going to knock it. You're not going to demolish it. We intend saving Moore Street. We intend the fight to save Moore Street continues no matter what consent is given by a minister. People of this country deserve to take this country back from those who wrecked the economy of this country. And where better place to start the recovery of this nation's proud honour and proud history than in this street where the birthplace of the Republic was set. From the defeat in 1916 from the decision to surrender in these 4 historic houses here, from the decision of the entire garrison and the entire terrace to surrender, lit the flame of the Republic. The freedoms we enjoy today, we should never forget it. I've referred to Frank Allen's successful arms around Moore Street, and as a way of remembering that great protest now, with the numbers available to us today, we're going to ask you to link arms from number 10 in a symbolic gesture all the way up to number 25. 24 and 25 are still our property. They are still under the control of Dublin City Council, and Dublin City Council must not hand them over to a developer who intends to obliterate this entire area. Frank reminds me, 2009. That's only a small period of time in this campaign. This campaign is now a decade old, a decade-long campaign, the longest campaign in the city since the lamentable failure to save Wood Quay. And is there anybody in this city, any proud Dubliner, who says what's sitting on the land that was once the Viking site of Wood Quay is a fantastic tribute to this city? It's shameful what happened to Wood Quay. That shame is not going to happen to this terrace of houses. And if you ask, as I have been asked many times, how do you keep going? I'll tell you how you keep going. In Frank MacDonald's great book, The Destruction of Dublin, there's a chapter in it on the lamentable loss, another great loss to the city. Lord Edward Fitzgerald's Georgian seafront home in Blackrock. You might now know it as the Frascati Shopping Centre. Another disastrous development for this city and the people of this country. And what happened there was levelled overnight by a developer to make way for Frascati. They had the brass neck to call the shopping centre after this wonderful home of Lord Edward Fitzgerald's. It would be the equivalent of doing what they're about to do here, obliterating the entire area and having the brass neck to call it after Pearse, Plunkett, Connolly and the other leaders of the Rising. It's not going to happen on our watch. They should be told that, and they should be told it forcefully. And when that permission was given in Blackrock, they had a champagne party that night in the very mansion they were about to knock down the next day. We'll let the message go out today from this historic area in Dublin, Moore Street. There'll be no champagne party for the developers in Moore Street. We will be having a champagne party in Moore Street when we save this area from the bankers and the developers. Thank you very much.
Tell me who you are, please.
My name is Muriel Macaulay.
Okay.
My relevance in this situation is that my grandparents were Thomas and Muriel MacDonagh.
Okay.
One of Muriel's sisters was Grace, so Grace Gifford, who became Grace Plunkett.
Okay.
And one of my mother's godfathers was Paul Pearse.
Okay, and can you tell me why we're here today?
Because of the intention to build a shopping centre which would demolish almost all of the terrace 10 to 25 Moore Street, including 60% of the National Monument from 14 to 17. We started over a decade ago to try and do something about protecting that National Monument. We'd ideally like to extend monument status to the whole terrace and then see it restored properly and used sympathetically with ordinary shopkeepers as it would have been previously.
Okay, can you tell me the symbolism of the store here and what it represents? Or?
This is the door that when the garrison in 1916 evacuated from the burning GPO, they came down Henry Place.
Okay.
As they approached Moore Lane, they were under severe fire from the other end of Moore Lane. They thought there was so much fire that they thought there was people in one of the buildings here. When they broke in, they found that it was just ricochets. There were no actual soldiers there. But they did take out a cart, put it across Moore Lane, and then managed to get across under some sort of cover. Several people were badly injured, and I think a couple were actually killed getting across that point. They got as far as Moore Street, and were once again under fire from the other end of the street. They had a barricade here, and across from the barricade they could hear somebody moaning on the other side of the street in the little laneway just across the road. George Plunkett, who was Joseph Mary Plunkett's brother, hopped the barricade, assuming that he was a volunteer who was over there, went across and found in fact a British soldier. So he put him over his shoulder. The man was injured, put him over his shoulder, brought him back and put him over the barricade. He was brought up to number 17 and was subsequently nursed there by presumably Nurse O'Farrell and others of the volunteers, and cared for alongside James Connolly until the time of the surrender, when he was obviously handed back to his own people. Having handed the soldier over, Plunkett turned around and one of the others says, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm going back. His rifle is there. We need it." So he rescued not only the soldier, also the rifle.
Right, okay. And can you tell me, what do you think of the National Monument at the moment?
I wouldn't use the sort of language on film that would express how I feel. The remainder of the buildings are obviously attainable along the terrace, so there is no good reason for the monument to be in the condition that it is. The developers say, "Oh well, we got it with no roof on, we put a roof on to protect it." If they were protecting it properly, it wouldn't have streaming damp, mould, and be in the absolutely deplorable condition that it is in.
What do you think will happen if it is lost? Like what?
There will be the Battle of Bristol.
Okay. Well, yeah, what should be done to the area, do you think?
Well, as I just said, what we would really like to see would be to restore the buildings 10 to 25.
Okay.
In the main, put in single occupancy shopkeepers. Put craft workers possibly above and in the mews behind. A garden. Maybe 16 as a commemorative area.
Okay.
But do it sympathetically.
Okay.
It would not cost an arm and a leg. And it would be so much more appropriate. We also would like to keep the traders. I know that the developers were definitely planning, despite what they said to the traders, to get rid of them.
Are you getting much support?
I am astonished at the level of support, in particular today. Today's event was only initiated a week ago. This day last week, there was chit-chat on Facebook, and then a proposal was made, and it exploded from there.
Okay.
I'm thrilled, and I'm really complimented that so many people came out today.
Okay, Maria. Well, it was an absolute pleasure and an honour. Thank you very much.
I'm very pleased to talk
really
to you.
appreciate it.
This is the centenary of the lockout. This is a speech from James Connolly's old comrade. Friends, comrades, citizens, brothers and sisters, the mission that I have come to preach, look at those spicks, where is wardrobe, is the divine mission of discontent. For the last 7 months, the employers of Dublin have used starvation as their weapon upon defenceless women and children, hoping in that way to break the manhood of husbands, fathers, friends and brothers. But they have failed, as all tyranny will fail before the terrible anger of the risen people. William Martin Murphy, you see, believed that Christ died for the poor, that we may be content in our poverty, and for the rich, that they may be sustained without threat to their possessions. God, said William Martin Murphy, is a good investment. Hunger, said William Martin Murphy, is a good sauce. But our God is the God of deliverance. And the hunger that we have awakened shall not be satisfied by bread alone. The masters of industry, so-called, the captains of capital, so-called, the merchant princes, no less, self-named and self-praising. They said they would isolate Dublin. They said they would break the spirit of the people of Dublin. They said they would wait and watch us starve. Dublin stood, and Dublin persevered, and Dublin, with the great help and solidarity of its allies at home and abroad, Dublin survived, and Dublin sent forth its clarion call and its example to the peoples of all cities and all nations. And Dublin said, as with Camille de Moulin at the gate of the Bastille, on the evening the peoples of the earth entered through it unto history, Dublin also said, the great are not great. The great only appear great because we are on our knees. Let us arise!
Just to finalise proceedings today, in a few minutes we're going to sing the national anthem. But I'd like to congratulate these young children, because if the state has its way, if chartered lands have their way, where these buildings that the 1916 leaders tunnelled their way through before the surrender in May, at the end of April 1916, will now become a car park and a John Lewis superstore. And it's these children that will lose out. We have a duty to preserve our culture, our history for these children. On the Thursday of Easter week, when the Helga and the artillery shelled the GPO and the leaders evacuated with the garrison, the GPO garrison, it was the first time as the timbers came in on top of them that they sang in English the soldier's song. And I'm going to invite Dermot Brannock to help me, and let's let the voice go out today.
Shall we do an ugly Caremac Brever Kjolver Ardincha Clive Gabuhakak Tide San Spare Gamin Rail Togak is phone ver Fwevrak Shen Chun Glow Gachun ver Gleirif Yaktan Low Fwykiona Squeeve Nahi her Shon Shalif Konig Aron the Vin Generally Rafael Atofrial Egerin Queen Garslu Artin Aroni Queen We was Vesser Shantir Arshin Sherfasta The offer Fintir on nothing trial and not the haste of Arnab will they gather will convosh no sin they gone Israel they long now will air Shalif Hanig Aron
I am stretched on your grave and will lie there forever. Were your hands held in mine, I'd be sure we'd not sever.
I and my fellow signatories believe we have struck the first successful blow for freedom. The next blow, which we have no doubt Ireland will strike, will win through. In this belief, we die happy.
For I smell of the earth and am warmed
I would
by the
plead
weather.
with every person here. Make me a scapegoat, if you will. Call me a traitor, if you will. Please, let's save the country.
I'd
like you to send them a message.
If they should be up,
who'll take my place?
Who's
going to take my place? I can't hear you.
We were elected by the people of Ireland, and did the people of Ireland think we were liars when we meant to uphold the Irish Republic?
I grieve for the girl that I loved as a child.
And the establishment of an Irish government untrammelled and uncontrolled by any other government in the world.
Ireland without its people is nothing to me. And the man who is bubbling over with love and enthusiasm for Ireland and can pass unmoved through our streets is, in my opinion, a fraud and a liar in his heart.
From rain or from storm.
Ireland has shown she is a nation.
In
the years to come,
Ireland
will honour those who risked all for her honour at Easter 1916.
So I'm stretched on your grave and will
I say to my people's masters, beware. Beware of the thing that is coming. Beware of the risen people who shall take what you would not give. Did you think to conquer the people? Or that law is stronger than life?
We have to surrender, but we have succeeded in establishing the Irish Republic according to international law by holding out for a week.
The Irish people established the Republic. It can only be disestablished by the Irish people.
I am stretched on your grave and will lie there forever. Were your hands held in mine, I'd be sure we'd not sever.
Easter Monday, 1916. GPO occupied in the name of the Republic, shortly after noon, about 12:15 p.m. Republic proclaimed.
Send out this message and keep sending it.
For I smell of the earth and am warmed by the weather. When my family thinks that I'm safe in my bed, from night until morning, I'm stretched at your head.
Now more than ever, we're going to have to remember them with respect and dignity and take this country back and make it what they died for, and make people think about the good of the country, the good of the people, and not the good of the individual.
I grieve for the girl that I loved as a child.
Life springs from death, and from the graves of patriot men and women spring living nations.
Approach me in dread, because I still love you. My love,
We will try it out with you. You that have harried and held, you that have bullied and bribed, tyrants, hypocrites, liars.
From rain or from storm, I cannot sleep. your grave, and will lie there forever. Were your hand held in mine, I'd be sure we'd not sever.
Raised on songs and stories, heroes of renown, the passing tales and glories that once was Dublin town. The hallowed halls and houses, the haunting children's rhymes, that once was part of Dublin in the rare old times. Ring a rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. The years have made me bitter, the goggle dims me brain, 'cause Dublin keeps on changing and nothing stays the same. The pillar and the Met have gone, the Royal long since pulled down, as the great unyielding concrete makes a city of my town. Ring a rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Fare thee well, Anna Liffey, I can no longer stay and watch the new glass cages that spring up along the quay. My mind's too full of memories, too old to hear new chimes. I'm a part of what was Dublin in the rare old times. Ring a rosy, as a light
Marcus Howard, test 1, 2,
I remember 3. Dublin City in the rain.